So the title says, Perfect Your Marriage. Perfect your marriage. So today we are not going to talk about how to perfect your marriage. And there are many of you in the room and that will be listening that are not married. And you'll be thinking, oh, I'm not married, it doesn't apply to me. Trust me, those who are married would rather have been sat where you are and have heard the advice before they got married. And then they would have been much, much more better prepared. There are people who are married for many years and there's some advice that they can take and they benefit. Everyone can benefit. So you are not married, you will benefit in marriage. You are married, you can implement them immediately. And if the person is married with problems for a long time, but they have problems, they can solve them problems. So it applies to all people. And then you might think that, oh, but it doesn't apply to me. I don't want to get married anytime soon, maybe 10 years from now, 5 years. But this also applies to all relationships. So instead of the spouse, husband, wife, change the word to a friend. So make it apply to all of you. It does apply. So this is a wonderful saying that the perfect marriage is a journey through imperfections. No marriage is perfect. But to become perfect, you need to go through the imperfections and come out the other way, learned and have taken a lesson from. So the perfect marriage. So as I was saying, this is for this workshop, which we will be delivering, inshallah, in April. I'm going to show you some of the things that will be covered in there. It's a 2-day workshop. It will be in Manchester, in Salford University. And these are the things, these are the topics which will be covered. So those who want to know these things in more detail, inshallah, they can come. But you will only see the problems today. You will not see the solutions. And I always say to people that it's not good to give people problems without a solution. So that's why I gave you a solution just before, but that was for addiction. So at least you got some solution today, alhamdulillah. So recently married and people who've been married for a long time, is also for them. How do they feel? They're beginning to give up. They're thinking about separation. But the question is, have you tried everything? Have you really tried everything to solve the relationship? For the people who are recently married, they become married and then a month later they think, oh, the honeymoon period is over already. But you can learn how to make that honeymoon period last forever. There is a way. There is a way. When the Holy Prophet ﷺ was asked what 3 things he likes about this world, he ﷺ mentioned the 3 things that he likes about this world. Does anyone know what they are? One of them he mentioned was perfume. He likes perfume. And one of them he mentioned was the women. He loves the women and the ladies. How Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created men and women, they are different. And men are different, women are different. And the Holy Prophet ﷺ loved the women very much. Even the daughters sometimes were preferred more over the sons. But in the presence of the daughters and the sons, a person should know that they make them both feel equal. But internally, who you prefer, that is between you and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And you don't need to show it unless you're in the one-to-one with that person. But the Holy Prophet ﷺ preferred, and he loved Hazrat Fatima radiallahu anha very much. And the third thing that he ﷺ liked very much in this world is salah, and the worship of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, khushu in the prayer. So these 3 things, mashallah. Now divorce, the D word, such a dangerous word when you know the fiqh related to it, is a word that should never be mentioned, should be avoided as much as possible, inshallah. Because many people are in the state of anger. The thing to know about anger is never say something in the state of anger because you will always regret it. It's very rare has a person ever said something in the state of anger and he or she was happy that they said that. They always regret it. So anger is such a thing that wait until you are not angry, then say something and decide. So divorce is becoming much, much more common in Muslim and in non-Muslim today in the societies. We understand the roots of the underlying problems that lead to unsuccessful marriages. So all these marriages that are breaking apart, there's a reason for it. And if you understand the reason, then a person can prevent that. You can prevent it. So some people are single, and this is the benefit that they will get. Some people are single and they say, he says this, she says this. Seeking the right advice can get confusing. So some of you are single and you're getting advice from people who are married already, but they're giving conflicting advice. Conflicting. One person says, don't help the housework. The other person says, oh no, you should help in the housework. Which one's the right one? One person says, don't give the husband and wife too much freedom. The other one says, give them complete freedom. So which one is correct? The answer is related to the 5 marriage structures. So you see in there are 4 or 5 marriage structures. Like you have different houses, there are different types of marriage. Like you have different courses and education, there is different types of marriage as well. And if a person learns the 5 marriage structures, then they realize that, oh, that advice is for that marriage structure. This advice is for my marriage structure. So then, if you're single and you hear the 5 marriage structures, you will no longer be confused. It will not become an information overload because you will recognize this was for me and this is for them. Lack of experience. So people who are sometimes single, they also have a lack of experience. Of course they have a lack of experience because they're not married. How else can they have experience? So if they come to this workshop, then they will learn from tried and tested systems of other people, real life examples, real life problems, and real life solutions that solved those problems. This is what they will hear. So learn real life practical case studies from the experience, explore common problems that lead to conflict, how to prevent them and making the mistakes. See, is it wise to learn from your own mistakes or to learn from other people's mistakes? It is wise to learn from your own mistakes, but why learn from your own when so many people have lived before you? You can learn from theirs and prevent it in yours. So they say that foolish is the one who learns from his own mistakes, wise is the one who learns from other people's mistakes. Now, the benefit of the new couples, those who are recently married, they sometimes have this problem that they've recently got married and now it's not what it was expected. They've got married and they're saying, marriage isn't what I expected it to be. This is a problem. Have you had your first argument? And they feel that, oh no, I've had one argument, that's it. I can't live with this marriage. Honeymoon, harmony already gone. So many people talk about the honeymoon period and they've put inside your mind that there is a honeymoon period. But let me tell you, if you can learn how, you will make the honeymoon period last forever. It does not need to end. The honeymoon period does not need to end. It needs to last forever. Okay? When the Holy Prophet ﷺ remembered Hazrat Khadija radiallahu anha after her demise, after her leaving this world, one of her blessed jewelry came in his blessed possession. He ﷺ started crying with the thoughts of remembrance of her. He started crying. So what does that show? That how much that they missed one another and he ﷺ missed her. So marriage should become better and better and better, not worse and worse. So the honeymoon period, that should become better as well. If you want to know how, then inshallah, this is explained in there as well. Some people are physically present. Maybe some of you now, you're physically sat in the room, but your mind is at home or in the archery or somewhere else. So your mind is somewhere else. You're not spiritually, mentally present. So in the marriage, this happens as well. You are married with the body, but you are not married each other in the mind. So if you want to learn, what does it mean to be married in the mind? What does it mean? I've never heard this before. Have you ever heard that you could be married in the mind? Maybe it is the case that you are married with the body to your wife, husband and wife, but in the mind you're married to someone else. In the mind you're married to someone else. This is a very dangerous thing. So to complete the marriage, be married with the body, be married in the mind, and also be married in the heart. But they all have meanings. So that is covered as well. Married and problems. So these are the people who have been married for a long time now, but a long time can even be a year, 2 years or more, but they are having problems and they are on the brink of breakdown. The brink of breakdown is just about to tear. But the question is that, have you actually exhausted all the options? Have you tried everything? If you haven't tried everything, then there is still hope for the marriage. There is. See, there is one-to-one coaching. Do you know that the business owners in the world, all of them, they get coaching. All the business owners, the successful ones, they get one-to-one coaching. Because does anyone know what is the biggest problem for a boss? What is the biggest problem a boss or a business owner has? Anybody know? Yes. Staff. Okay, he has many staff, mashallah, or she has many staff, but it's not the number one biggest problem for them. Oh. It could be time constraints. I was speaking to people about time management today. It could be time constraints, but there's something even bigger than that. Yes. Motivation. Sorry? Motivation, no? Motivation is related to motivation, yes. Yeah. Communication with who? It could be communication, but it's not the number one, yes? It's not losing his position or her position. They have that position. No one can take it from them. Nobody can fire the boss. The number one, yes? They can have goals, but it's not the same. Not necessarily. I'll tell you the number one. The number one problem that business owners in the world have is they don't have accountability. They don't have someone to tell them what to do, what not to do, or to tell them that, have you done this? Someone to be held accountable to. So the business owner becomes lazy at times, that I'm not doing what I need to do. Everyone in my business, in my staff, they're accountable to me. They have to come to me, I check up on them. But who checks up on me? Who makes sure I'm doing what I need to do? And that's where business owners, the successful ones, they hire consultants for them. And now just imagine, if successful business owners do that, well, why for our marriage we don't have this? Marriage is not your marriage more precious to you than your business? But you hire someone for the business, but there is no one for the marriage. So this is why in the workshop there is also one-to-one coaching for the brothers and the sisters given as well. So one-to-one, because everyone's problems are different. Then people, they experience this. They have experienced the state of love, not the station of love. There's a heaven and earth difference between the state of love and the station of love. What is the state of love? What is the station of love? When you know what the station of love and the permanent and the real love is, the state can never affect you. You see, this is mentioned, inshallah, in the workshop. We don't have time to go through them. I only want to give you an overview of what will be covered. So real life tried and tested solutions from not only the modern day, what the psychologists and sociologists say, but the Quran and Sunnah, because the Quran and Sunnah has all the solutions in it. Anything that the scientists come up with, it was already present in Quran and Sunnah. They only are realizing now. So the course overview is a 2-day course. There are 4 main steps that we'll be going through, and there are expert instructors, ingredients of a perfect marriage, what marriage in the mind means, the reality of love and states, and how to prevent the brink of breakdown. So these are 4 major aspects that will be covered, inshallah. And in the ingredients of a perfect marriage, to mention what will be in there. In there we will be covering the 7-step system on how to create the perfect marriage. 7-step system. How to find a spouse, what to look for in a spouse, and much more. So many people ask this question, who should I look for? What should I look for? Is this important? Is that important? They're always asking questions about the things which are the least important. And this is what we find. The least important and the most important things are forgotten. No wonder the marriage won't be ideal. So inshallah, you learn what the Holy Prophet ﷺ himself, the 4 things he recommended. The second, the married in the mind, you will learn to develop and enrich your relationship with the concept of deep thinking. Deep thinking is such a wonderful and powerful quality. It can transform a person's life. You see, now in the business world, they also say mindset is the most important thing. A person with the right mindset, he or she can do everything. The world can never be an obstacle for them. The world becomes their oyster. It means it's in their hand. But if you don't have the mindset, then even to change the job that you dislike is difficult. So how to improve the marriage? Mindset over matter. The mindset is almost, and deep thinking develops this type of mindset. One thing that you will find common in millionaires, because there's a research that's done on people who are very, very wealthy. And you will find this, let me very quickly share with you, I sent this to people yesterday. So this is the mindset of rich people or wealthy people, positive people, and the mindset of unsuccessful people. So successful people, unsuccessful. Successful people, they read every day. Unsuccessful people, they watch TV every day. Successful people, they compliment people. They compliment others. Unsuccessful people, they just criticize. You did this, you didn't do this. I don't like this. I don't like the food. They always criticize them. Successful people will be thinking the food is very nice. There's people in the world who have nothing to eat, and I had fish cake and beans and other things. They'll be happy. They will always look at the good. Successful people, they embrace change. They're happy with change. The unsuccessful people, they fear change. They don't like things to change. Successful people, they forgive. They always forgive. It's okay, don't worry. There's more important things in life. Unsuccessful people, they always hold a grudge. 10 years ago, he did this to me, she did this to me, they said this to me. I know people who are holding grudge in the family 15 years, brothers and sisters. Imagine. But the successful, if you look at their life, successful person, they forgive. They forgive. Successful people, they talk about ideas, and unsuccessful people, they talk about people. Okay? So next time you hear someone talking about people, realize this is a sign of unsuccess. The successful person, he talks about ideas. That how can we make more money? How can we open a new business? How can I improve my marriage? How can I help my parents? Ideas, not people. Successful people, they continuously learn. They're always learning. They never say what the unsuccessful say, that I know it all. The unsuccessful people, they think they know everything. But the successful, they are always saying, I'm still learning, I'm still learning. Like I told you about business owners, they have mentors still helping them. Successful people accept responsibility of their failures, and unsuccessful people, they blame others. Do you see when you point this finger, how many fingers are pointing at you and how many are pointing at me? Only one is pointing at you and 3 is pointing at me, and 1's at the sky, the thumb. But if I point the finger, my hand is telling me I am to blame, not you. I'm to blame. And so you should point the finger at yourself, and then you will improve. So this is successful people. They accept responsibility. The unsuccessful, they blame others. And 2 more. Successful people, they have a sense of gratitude. They're grateful for everything. Even the small thing you give them, they're grateful. They're grateful for a smile. Unsuccessful people, they have a sense of entitlement. That means that they feel that I should have this. That you said thank you to me. Yeah, I deserve the thanks. The successful person, they're grateful for everything. And the last one, the successful people, they set goals and they develop life plans. They have life plans for this year, next year, 10 years. If I asked you what is your 10-year plan, you should be able to tell me what your 10-year plan is. But if you don't, then which category do you see yourself in? And this unsuccessful people, they never set goals. They never set goals. So this is the type of thing which a person needs to realize, which one am I in? So, reality of love and states. Brother, you had your hand? Yes?
Like, example, marriage, and I was just thinking on the basis, like, I had a partnership with business, and that's the type of marriage as well.
Yeah.
I had a partnership with someone. So I had a partnership with someone in the business, and what happened was I invested more money than my partner. We get into clothing, I invested more money, but obviously the ups and downs, what happened was, because I invested more money,
Yeah.
even though I believe that I will go half, but I invested more money. And I thought to myself that I should be rewarding or having more of a profit margin than my partner, even though they're not as wealthy as me. But I thought that I deserved to have more because obviously I put more money. Have I done injustice? Because when I spoke to you last time, it feels that I was looking at that as equality, that I put in more, so I should make more, but that's not justice.
So what was the agreement that you made at the time? What agreement did you make with the partner?
That I'll go half with my partner, but I put more money, but I thought that I deserved to make more money because I put more money.
So the agreement is the important thing. If at the time of the agreement you've said that we will be 50-50, even though one has put more money in and the other's put less in, then to keep to your word, you should honor the agreement that's been made. So otherwise you'll be going back on your word, and that will reflect badly on you, and only harm could come from there. So yes, you might think that if you thought that I should be worthy of more because I put more money in, it should have been discussed at the time of agreement. The only way you could change this now is if you ask the partner if he's okay with that. If he's not okay with that, then it should stay as it is, because that was your agreement. So this is why doing istikhara and prayer of guidance and consulting people beforehand is important before you make major decisions. Yeah. So bite the bullet, as they say. And the relationship, remember, in business and in marriage, relationship is more important and precious than money. If you give preference to money and dunya over the relationship with people, that person will never really succeed properly. But if you give preference to relationship of people, then they will succeed. Jazakallah, thank you. So inshallah, there's other things about the mind that will be mentioned. Stress relief. There are techniques to relieve stress. You know, there are some people that when they, in school and college and university, they can't do the test with other people around. It causes stress. There are some people who have a timeout card that if the teacher is shouting or telling the class off, or anything's happening, they can go for a break somewhere on their own. So everyone has different stress levels. You need to recognize where your stress level is, and also you need to realize how to prevent stress and how to deal with it. Two different things: prevent it and then deal with it if it happens. So this is not only for marriage, this applies in every aspect of life. Does anyone know what the number one cause of stress in the world is? The number one cause of stress. Anybody know? Yes. It's not marriage. Yes, brother. You could say not remembering Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but this applies to non-Muslims and Muslims as well. That's a general statement. Something more specific. It's not work. Not work, but good intentions.
Negative thinking.
It's related to negative thinking, and it's on the board. Yes. The nafs is against the general statement. It is the nafs, but it's something more specific than just the nafs.
It's overthinking.
It's overthinking. It's on the board. So you see, the number one cause of stress in the world is thinking too much, overthinking. So why should I now be thinking about next week if I'm here? I'm here today, I should be thinking about now and today and this weekend. Next week and the month after can wait. Plan for it, but don't think about it. The only time you think about the future is when you are planning the future. Now that you've planned it, so my whole month of April should be planned right now. It's planned. So now I don't need to think about it. I've planned it, I don't need to think about it. I need to think about now. So when the person lives in the moment, they live in the moment, they benefit from the moment. But if you live in the future, you're always thinking about the future. The future comes, but you don't benefit because you're thinking about the next future. And then there are people who live in the past. Do you remember the good old days, the golden days? Well, I always say to people, if the past is better than the present, then that means the past was here and your present is here. And what does that mean? That your future, your life is on a downward trajectory. It's going downhill. But if today is better than the past, that means you are here today, your past is there, that means your life is getting better and better. So the past shouldn't be better than the present. Make today better than yesterday. And there is a way for this as well. So these things will be covered, inshallah. Reality of love and states I mentioned. Does anyone know that, look at the bottom, 2,000 feelings a day? Scientists say the human being goes through 2,000 states and feelings in one day. One day, not a week, not a month, in a day. Has anyone experienced a time where the same day they felt like it was the best day of their life, and the same day they felt like it was the worst day of their life? I've experienced that. So it was a very strange matter, but people experience this. It felt like the best day and it felt like the worst day. Same. So sometimes this happens. So why is it important to know about this reality of love and states? Because then you know how to deal with it. You will know how to deal with it, inshallah. Not only will you know how to deal with it, you'll know how to benefit from it. Personality types. Does anybody know currently how many personality types scientists today say that there are? Anyone know? We're very close. So there are different models, but generally in the business, they teach it in the business world as well. There are four personality types. And what they show in business as well is that when the employees go through this profiling, they go through their profiling, they find out which personality type they are. The second thing you then learn is, if I am this particular profile, how do I interact with the other three, with the other four actually? How do I interact with them? And when you learn which one you are and how to interact, they see that the businesses improve. They all improve. Because you recognize which your personality type is. But this also applies in marriage, that which is your personality type, which is your spouse personality type, and how to benefit from each one, the relationship. So that will also be covered, and everyone will have the opportunity to find out what their personality profile is, and then to share it with the workshop if they want to as well. So inshallah, there are other things, there's not many things. The 5 structures, you will recognize the 5 structures that you are from Quran and Sunnah, modern day science. To give you a few examples today. How to prevent the breakdown from real life, tried and tested solutions. And remember, those solutions might not work for you, but they work for someone else. For you, it might be something different, which is why one-to-one advice is also important, as I mentioned. So this is one of the course package. It's mentioned here that for a single person, it's the one on the left. Couples can come together as well. Brothers and sisters will both be present. And in the future, there will also be female teachers, females only. So, alhamdulillah, qualified alims, others as well, teachers who are currently teaching. And not only are they teaching these people, they are helping people on a one-to-one in this situation on a regular basis. So they hear these things regularly. So before the 15th of April, these are the prices here, and after the 15th of April, the price for the single one goes up. So this is the website to go to. perfectyourmarriage.com, and inshallah there will be people coming and attending for 2 full days in Salford University. It will be very interactive. Many things will be mentioned, and inshallah you will be able to take away practical solutions on how to improve your marriage. And the one-to-one advice will also be given to people, the link so that they can have that, inshallah. So, does anyone have any question that they'd like to ask? Yes, brother.
Those fees, do they include the consultation and the support, like active support?
Yeah. So these fees, they include, it says there, access to the course book. So on the first one, I'm reading the second point. Access to the course books and resources. So they will get the course book, they will get resources as well. Access to a collection of case studies resolving common marriage problems. They'll get MP3 of it, audio downloads that they can have. But what they will have is like an online mentor. They'll have an online mentor. So they can send a message and they can, the message will be given to them, the answer, within 48 hours. And so like this.
1 year service?
So yeah, it's an ongoing service, inshallah, that they can have. And they will be able to go through different sheets where they rectify and purify their relationship with their spouse on the tongue level, on the eye level, on the ear level, and others as well like this. So they will, just with the spouse only, the problems between the husband and wife related to the tongue, they will learn the solutions for that, and they'll be practicing this. And that will be an online system that they will be able to go through with an online mentor as well. But a higher level package, which is separate to this, that will be shown on the day if they want one-to-one advice, half an hour, 45 minutes, to speak to someone. And they can also speak as couples as well. So that will be separate, and that will be given on the day, inshallah. Yeah, telephone, inshallah. So wherever they are in the world, they can have a telephone consultation. They will have a booking system so that they can book with the mentors at a slot of their convenience, inshallah.
And the accommodation, does that include accommodation?
So this doesn't include accommodation now. So the mentoring is separate. With this, they get the online one-to-one, but only by message. The mentoring, speaking, consultation, half an hour, 45-minute slots, they will be introduced in the workshop only. And it'll be introduced there, and people who want to take that, they'll take that.
So people have to book their own accommodation for this?
Yes, there is, some people are providing accommodation, and if they want to, Brother Zafar is actually the person to speak to here, and he will arrange accommodation in one of the centres close by, very affordable accommodation with food as well for the 2 nights that you'll be staying, inshallah.
I'm sorry, I know I'm asking all the questions, but last question, if you don't mind, is this course that's been put together, mashallah, it's got the Islamic aspect, it's got lots of kind of personal development aspects to it, and maybe many people don't appreciate it, but definitely, see courses they charge like £1,000 people.
Yeah.
So people maybe don't appreciate what they're getting here.
Yeah.
So I think that needs to be highlighted partly. And secondly, in relation to this marriage course, the one problem I foresee is that many people, from knowing and being involved in marriage problems and couples and stuff myself, is that sometimes the one partner thinks, well, this is all really crazy stuff, that I don't need this stuff. My mother and father, they were like 50 years, they had to go through these stupid courses, and all this kind of negative mentality and kind of narrow thinking. How would you kind of, let's say usually you find the wife wants to come, or women want to come to it, but they need both partners to understand this kind of thing. So how would you, advise, what advice would you give one spouse to be able to convince the other one to do these kind of things?
Yeah. So alhamdulillah, one of the answers is that firstly there should be no force. So if the husband is willing to come, the wife is not, that's fine. If the wife is willing to come, the husband is not, that's fine. There should be no force on each other. You can only encourage. So encourage. Secondly, the second thing is regarding change. That let's say the wife wants to improve herself, but the husband doesn't want to improve himself. He doesn't want to go, and so on. So the sunnah way of rectifying this type of relationship is that, let's say 2 people are shouting. If you shout If you're shouting at me and I shout at you, then you're going to shout louder, I'm going to shout louder. That's what most people do. He shouts, she shouts, it goes louder and louder. The sunnah way is that if the other person is shouting and arguing, then you go quieter and quieter and quieter. The louder they go, the quieter you go. You do the complete opposite. So when a person does this, then that person realizes that, I'm in the wrong, I'm shouting, why am I shouting? But if you shout back, then all that happens is that this other person, you become an argument and they think that I'm not shouting as loud as this person, then it's okay. So from that principle, what can be seen is that if a person wants to rectify their spouse and help them and encourage them to improve, the real solution is that you have to dramatically improve yourself to such an extent that the spouse sees the change and that will automatically pass on her. So you have to, this is a difficult situation, we acknowledge that. It's the husband wants to improve, the wife doesn't. The wife wants to improve, the husband doesn't. It's a very difficult situation. So the way to improve the other person, you can never force them, you can only advise them. The way to do it is improve yourself to such an extent that they will follow you automatically without you even saying. I'll give you one example. So that's the principle. One example is, if someone is saying something negative, what's the only way to overcome negativity? Positivity. So if someone says to me, the food isn't very nice, then I could say that there are people in the world who are living on $3 a day. There are people in the world who've not drank clean water for months and months. There are people in the world, half the population of the world lives on less than $3 a day. The time of the Prophet ﷺ, never mind that time, people today have nothing to eat for weeks and weeks. So now is it befitting to be complaining about food anymore when we have full stomachs and so on? So do you see, the positive mindset eradicates and removes the negative mindset automatically. So that's the solution. Positivity removes negativity, and the dramatic change of one person for the good automatically changes the other person. And this principle can also be seen here, where the Holy Prophet mentioned that where good company is like the perfume shop. You go in the shop, you don't buy anything, you come back out smelling nice. And bad company is like the goldsmith, where you go in there, you don't buy anything, but you come out, your clothes is dirty and you smell. So if you become the good company, the other person will take some of that from you without you saying it. But if you become the bad company, then you will only become a downward spiral for both of you. So does this answer the question? Anyone else? Any questions? Yes. Well, and then I think we have 4 minutes.
Can you just differentiate between state and station, and how you develop the state into the station?
So inshallah, these things will be covered in the workshop. But the one, so that you are aware, states are feelings. They are feelings that come and go. We all go through them every single day. Right now, a feeling you may be going through is excited or bored or happy or sad or unhappy or grateful or ungrateful. So these are just feelings. You feel them. Sometimes you feel a state of love. I feel like I love this person. I feel like I hate this person today. I loved them yesterday. What's this all about? So these are temporal. So a state is temporal. A station is something which is permanent. Something which never changes. It stays rock solid and it never changes. So then the thing to know is this, that every feeling has a state and a station. And there is a definition of each one. So you need to be able to tell the difference. What is the state of love? What is the station of love? What is the state of gratefulness? What is the station of gratefulness? What is the state of humbleness and the station of humbleness? They are two different things. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when He looks at you and He sees a state of humbleness, this doesn't mean the person has humbleness. He sees in you the state of gratefulness, but you don't have the station of gratefulness. He sees in you the state of love, but not the station of love. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will only consider that you have the quality when you have the station. Okay? So, but today we won't be going through what the states are, what the stations are. In there you, inshallah, will learn them. They'll be mentioned. But it's very important for us to know that we go through this every day, all the time. And the worst thing that you could do is to act out of a state. If you act out of the state, then tomorrow you will regret it. If you act out of the station, you won't regret that. So, any other question? One more?
Time for a quick question, if anybody does have one. Also, at the same time, the opportunity is there for a one-to-one consultation with Brother Usman. After we go away from here and this workshop takes place, as you can see, there's some fees involved for a one-to-one consultation. Now, this weekend is a very special offer. You've got the opportunity to sit with Brother Usman and discuss any situation. It doesn't have to be about marriage. It could be an issue relating to addiction. Again, as I've mentioned before, strictly on a private and confidential basis, you can sit down with Brother Usman and discuss any issue of that nature that may be troubling you and you need assistance and guidance with. So addictions, marriage, anything of a spiritual nature, please don't hesitate. I keep emphasizing, I'm a little bit surprised and disappointed that brothers are not making the most of this opportunity. Don't forget, when we go away from here, we're always going to have time to meet up with our friends. We're going to have always be eating, always be sleeping. But these opportunities will not come again very often. So just to be in the company of some very, very special people who are very sort of trained and experienced to help you with these matters, make the most of them rather than wasting the time sleeping and just having a chit-chat or chill out with your friends. I'll be standing here. If anybody wants to approach me to book a time, please do so. Don't be shy. And you don't have to tell me what it's about. I'll just need to book you a time with Brother Usman, and then when you're sitting with him in private, you can discuss whatever that issue is. And are you finished, Brother Usman?
I'll just say one point.
Sure.
So just one, because this is one of the shaitanic thoughts that shaitan puts in people's minds, and this is how he prevents you from seeking help. I'm not saying get help from me. It could be anybody. Allah knows best. Whoever can help you. So, but the thought that he puts in people's minds is that if I tell this person my problem, he's going to think bad of me. He's going to think bad of me. So I can tell you now that that person will never ever think bad of you. Why? Because of this. Think about this. How many of my sins do I know, and how many of your sins do I know? Many people are here today that I've only met you this weekend. So even those of you that I've known for many years, I don't know even one or two sins. Maybe one, and that's about it, and that was accidental and I forgot. But my sins, I know all of them, every single one. If a person ponders and remembers, they can remember every single sin. So it's not allowed for a person to compare themselves with someone else and to assume he has sins. If I was to compare me with you, I would have to say I have 1,000,000 sins, but you have 1 or 2. That's how I can compare. Then who is better? Definitely the person then will believe that I am the worst one because I have 1,000,000 and they have 1. I don't even know of theirs. But with that mentality, do you see mindset? With that mentality, a person can never think that the others are better. He will always think I'm the worst one. So you might come with one small problem or big problem, whichever, but the person knows all their previous problems and sins and so on. So don't let shaitan put that thought in your mind that, oh, the person will think bad of me. They will never think bad of you. They will think that this person is far greater and better than me. I have millions of sins and they have 1 or 2, that they only have 1 problem. So this is an important point for you to realize, inshallah, as well. So on that point I finish, and Jazakallah, Subhanakallah wa bihamdika ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta